a Bulldog radio podcast.
The Ferris State Bulldogs have upset the nation's number 2 ranked team. Wide open! Taylor is going to take this one to the house! Touchdown Bulldogs!
Welcome back, everybody, to the most valuable sports podcast. I'm Brandon. We're joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Joseph Nagy. Joe, we have an absolute great episode on deck today.
Dude, what do we have in store for everybody? It's probably going to be our favorite one.
I'd
say it's going to be our favorite one so
I'm
far.
Hyped.
We're going to have a lot of good stuff to talk about, but not only that, Brandon, I feel like you should probably introduce
Me?
this one.
Oh my gosh, we have an absolute special guest. Rob Bentley, the voice of the Bulldogs, will be joining us to talk about his story, his role in Ferris State athletics, and just here's some great stories from him. And that's somebody that me and Joe look up to so much. We had Harrison Watt on last year, and
both of our bosses are coming on the show.
Man, it's just been a blessing to have them. So looking forward to that. We'll get into the Ferris State Sports Report, including some controversial stuff happening in soccer last week, as well as volleyball, football, cross country, tennis, and golf, and more. And then we'll be back with some more fun topics in the second half of the show. But, Joe, let's not waste any time, my friend.
Let's swing it to the interview.
Now joining us in studio, the man, the myth, the legend is here, Rob Bentley, the voice of the Bulldogs. Rob, it's an honor. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on.
So, Rob, first question for you. You've been here a long time. You've seen Ferris kind of evolve into a program where not a lot of success was on the athletic side to nowadays you are calling games like national championships, GLIAC championships, and all that. What's it been like to see just these programs and this university evolved in kind of your tenure here?
You know, I think the growth has been incredible for our athletic programs. When I came here, we had some competitive teams, certainly in the conference, but, to see our teams, go on and contend for conference championships and have success nationally has been, awesome to be a part of that. I think there's been great people, great coaches that have helped make that happen, and it obviously takes some great support from the university.
Yeah, and obviously coming to Ferris, you started studying at University of Nebraska-Kearney, where you grew up, and did a lot of success there. What was the experience like there, and then making the transition and seeing a lot of differences here at Ferris State?
I think Nebraska-Kearney was a lot like Ferris State in that it really gave me an opportunity, to figure out what I wanted to do and gain some experience. I did a lot of different things in multimedia, journalism, communications, but then I worked on the other side as a graduate assistant, student assistant in men's basketball, and saw the athletic side of it as well. So I think it really, kind of showed me the way in terms of what I wanted to do. Was out exploring, job opportunities, and the one at Ferris kind of happened. Didn't really know much about Ferris State or had never been to Michigan, and came here, went to the interview, got offered the job, and, I came here. I wasn't sure how long I was going to stay, but, 23 years later, it's, a great place to be in, obviously a great community to live in.
Yeah, now in your 23rd year, what's it kind of like now with the cap being built, so many changes coming cosmetically to the Ferris athletic program? What was that kind of like for your role in kind of getting that all orchestrated out?
It's been a lot of work and a lot of planning, but it's something I think is long overdue in terms of, having facilities that our student athletes can take some pride in. The weight room has been, an issue for us for a long, long time. And to see it finally come to, a completion here is really exciting for athletics moving forward. I think whatever we can do to help supplement those upgrades to our facilities is going to pay off. Certainly athletics brings a lot of attention to the university, and we need great facilities and great things to help attract future student athletes.
For sure. And obviously, everybody knows you and Sandy as the voice of the Bulldogs for football, basketball, soccer, but you do a plethora of other things. Just talk about a lot of those things as far as being the associate athletic director, doing administration stuff, and including social media, external operations, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, really, the broadcast side is obviously my favorite part of my job, but it's something that was kind of just thrown in there at the end at one stage. I love doing it, but I don't spend near enough time probably in preparation that I would like to. just because of those other things take so much time, from writing releases to, helping with ticket sales, marketing, promotions, you mentioned social media, video, broadcasting. It all kind of goes hand in hand with trying to promote our teams and our programs. And, we've been one that's tried to be a leader and at the forefront of Division II athletics doing a lot of those things. So, it takes a lot of time, but, it's something that really I think has helped us, and helped our teams and programs as we've, moved forward and hopefully gain more championship type of success.
And for broadcasting, you've had so many awesome calls, and especially calling out the X-Man. You have Bernhardt last year. A lot of your
the one in our intro tag.
Exactly. Some iconic calls that you've had. What have been your favorite ones? Like just those moments to be able to kind of experience that and be able to kind of be the avenue for just the viewer that's watching it or even listening on the radio. Like what have been kind of your favorite moments to call?
I think there's a few that obviously stick out. Number one being I think when our men's basketball team won the national championship. It was an exciting game. It was something that was. I'd been in Division II basketball from my time at Nebraska Kearney for 20-some years, and never thought I would be in that situation or have a chance to do that. So it was an exciting game that came down to the end on just a great week in Sioux Falls. So that was probably the first one that sticks out. Obviously, winning the national championship in football last year, we came so close, had so many great teams in the last 10 years, and to see those guys finally do it, was exciting as well. And then the third one that kind of stands out to me is, when Coach Denise came in 2012 and we went to Lubber Stadium and beat Grand Valley. It was the first time Ferris State had beat Grand Valley in 15 years. So that was an exciting game that kind of stands out as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Who's like quarterback and stuff back then? Like who was playing that day?
It was Jason Vanderlaan was actually the quarterback. He was a freshman for us and, obviously had a outstanding career here at Ferris State. But, that was a team that Coach Denise came in and, kind of struggled early, but, kind of got it together as the year went on and just had a great game down there against Grand Valley.
Awesome.
Yeah, and everybody obviously knowing a lot of those great calls, but you've had a lot of great awards even outside of the broadcast booth with all the honors that you've had, especially back at Kearney. According to your bio, you won a state championship for sports writing. Is that correct? I
did. Back when I was in high school, actually, at McCook High School in Nebraska. So it was great to win that award, obviously. I really enjoyed getting my start in high school journalism, working for the student paper, and that's kind of where I got started kind of in this field.
Yeah, what does that encompass, like a state championship in sports writing? Like what exactly goes through that process? Is it like a nomination? Is it competition? Like how does that work?
A little bit of both. We had to submit nominations with some of the articles we had done over the course of the year, and then they actually had kind of a state championship type of situation where we went to Lincoln. We're on the University of Nebraska campus and had to sit down. I remember sitting down and they gave us some materials and we had to put a story together, I think, in a half hour or something like that. So
wow. It
was actual competition at the end of it too.
That's really cool. Yeah, I would never have thought that was a thing. That's super cool.
So we've talked about the accolades, we've talked about the high points of the career, but as a broadcaster, everybody knows you have some of those games where it might be a little bit lackluster. You have some mistakes that at the time where you thought they're really detrimental, but now you can kind of look back and laugh about. What are some of those moments that you can kind of look back for?
I've got a couple that stand out. I think we played. I can't remember who we played. It might have been Findlay here 2019, and I was sick that day and tried doing the game on the air, and I think I coughed the entire game. So it was one of those games where, I probably shouldn't have been doing the broadcast. I'd lean over and kind of cough on the side and tried to keep it quiet, but it wasn't very quiet. So that was one.
Had the cough going on.
And then, another one, Sandy and I went to Marquette to play Northern Michigan. I think might have been 2012. And, it was the last game of the year, and we had technical issues from the start of the broadcast. Their phone lines weren't working. We were doing it on phone lines back then. Couldn't get on the internet, just all kinds of issues, and ended up doing part of the game, I think, on a cell phone. So, it was a challenge just to try to get any of the game on the air that day.
Man, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
phone lines. They were on?
Phone lines. We were phone lines until 4 or 5 years ago, probably. Maybe 5 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. Have you ever had a game where you've just been in a position where you're trying to make the game as good as possible, but there's not been as great of a game? Because, I know for me, my debut was actually this early this year. Chip Hill's playing Gladwin. It was 62-0. They were losing. I don't know how to really bring positive to the situation. What do you do in moments like that?
What do you say in those barn burners like that?
We try to do everything we can to make it as positive as possible, obviously. We went through 2009, a 1-10 football season. Ooh. And, we had a lot of games that were not close that year. And, it was tough. It was a challenge, but, we tried to remember the fact that we just enjoy being in the broadcast booth and watching our teams play and, did as well as we possibly could. A lot of those situations you have to try to, add in feature type stuff, information on the student athletes, stuff that kind of, takes away from what you're seeing on the field during the game.
Especially with Sandy being in the booth with you, how long have you guys been together?
We've been friends since I got here in 2000. He was a reporter for the Pioneer here in Big Rapids, and then got a job at Ferris, a few years later. And he started, coming on the broadcast with Jason Day, who was doing football at the time, filled in a little bit. And then we had a 3-man crew for, I think, a year or two where all 3 of us were doing it. And then Jason kind of phased himself out with some of his other opportunities here at Ferris State, working in admissions, was kind of tied up. And so Sandy and I started doing it, I think, in 2007, 2008, and pretty much done. I think we've done all but one football game. We missed the game 2000 and it would have been 18 when men's basketball went to Duke. We went with the men's basketball team, so that's the only game we missed. I think in that stretch.
What was that game like when basketball went to Duke?
That's one of those games where obviously it was exciting just to be there and be a part of that atmosphere, but that's one of those games where the scoreboard wasn't in our favor, so we had to do things to make that entertaining. But obviously it was just exciting to be at Cameron Indoor Stadium, calling a game, and knowing that we were up above the floor, kind of in the same situation where you see the ESPN announcers there when they broadcast a game.
Yeah, what was that like, especially seeing like Zion and RJ and like all those basically incredible basketball players? What was that like?
It was incredible, and obviously, that was one of their first games at Duke, and to see, our guys play against those guys was, pretty exciting. We wish we would have had some of those members of our national championship team, because some of those guys had graduated, so we didn't have, Zach Hankins or somebody to kind of play against those guys. Mm-hmm. But it was still fun just to see our team, take the floor against them.
Absolutely. Yeah, sports definitely brings its great moments, but really with the way that a lot of people go into sports, there's so many different avenues, and everybody's story is different. What would you recommend to a lot of these people, maybe even listeners out there that were looking to go into sports, not sure exactly how to do that?
I think kind of like you guys have done, try to get as much experience as you can, explore what areas that you might be interested in. We're fortunate here at Ferris State, I think, where there's a lot of opportunities for students, especially in the athletics area or sports communication field, that, you just kind of put yourself out there and see what you can do, see what you enjoy doing, and try to get as much experience as you can while you're in college.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, especially seeing that, like, how would you kind of explain, especially with like your journey and stuff like that, how like the evolving and like the changes of how like sports have kind of gone today, especially like broadcasting and, writing and stuff like that? What would you kind of compare that, especially from how you're starting to kind of what you've heard from, how it is today trying to get into this field?
I think from when I started, it's obviously changed a lot with the, the advent of social media, video production. We weren't doing any of that stuff. When I started at Ferris State, we were, calling the newspaper with the scores at the end of a game. We were faxing them box scores. So that stuff has kind of gone by the wayside. I think you've really became your own media. You're not relying on the Detroit News or somebody to pick up, the story on your team to be able to tell that story. You have ways in which to do that on your own. So I think that's been a positive change, just trying to help, promote your university and your student athletes.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Final question for you, Rob. We appreciate you being here. We always ask our guests on the show, athletes, staff, or whatever, what's been your favorite thing about being here at Ferris State and being a Bulldog?
I think the favorite thing for me is the relationships that you build and the people that work here. We have some great coaches that, I'm friends with, away from work, some awesome student athletes that have been through here and I've been fortunate to be around. So I think it's the people that kind of make the place. And, that's a big reason I think we've had a lot of success, especially here as of late.
Awesome.
Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I guess this weekend's not going to be as busy, seeing that a lot of the sports are going to be away, but we know you're a busy guy, especially over there in the athletics complex.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and go Bulldogs.
Once again, big thanks to Rob for coming on the show. He's a great inspiration for both me and Brandon with what we want to do for our careers and to also just take time out of his busy schedule. He does a lot of stuff around campus, so for him to be able to take time, that means a lot to us. And it was a great interview as well. But let's kick it on to this Ferris State Sports Report. It's a big one, Brandon. We got a lot to cover. I think we should probably start with soccer. That was a pretty big game, pretty controversial stuff happened. I mean, you were on the call. You probably had a little bit of something to say, I guess. I mean, I don't know how you would kind of talk about that, but if many people don't know, 0-0 draw against Grand Valley last Friday, right?
Yes, but
Dude, it should have been 1-0 Ferris.
It should have been
1-0.
And for those that aren't aware what I'm talking about, it was a good game. It was physical. It was well played. Both teams had a lot of chances. And I believe it was about 10 minutes to go in the second half. There was a shot from just outside the 18 by Katie Nestico. It hit the bottom of the top crossbar, and it bounced straight down, and with the backspin, spun out back into the field of play. But with our camera crew that we had on the field, that I believe it was Chandler, the one that had the camera. He had that shot filmed, and upon further review, you can see the ball landing inside the goal line before it bounces back out, which I believe, according to NCAA soccer rules, is indeed a goal.
Count it.
Unfortunate that it had to happen this way, but it was still a great game.
We have picture evidence, man.
Yeah, we do, and it sucks that you don't have instant replay to change that.
Don't got the VAR. Can't go little like square movement that refs do.
Yeah, we need the square, the hand finger
Official
motions.
review.
Yeah, we're going to the booth, but it was still a good game. I was on the pleasure of having the call for that one while Rob and Sandy went to the football game in North Carolina, which we'll get to here in a minute, but. It was a good experience. Not my best broadcast. I'll admit that.
Happens, brother.
Volleyball was way better.
Happens, brother.
It's hard to fill in some big shoes.
Here's
but
the thing about soccer. One, you got Rob and Sandy that you got to kind of take over for, which is not an easy job.
No, not at all.
Especially seeing that like they have great chemistry and all that stuff. And Rob's been able to do soccer for so many years now, and for you to go into it. I mean, soccer especially, you get some, like, downtime. It's hard to fill in downtime for soccer because at least, like, with basketball, it's always moving. Football, it's somewhat always moving, but you're just kind of describing what's going on. Soccer is kind of more slow-paced and stuff, and there's not a whole lot of action that goes on. It can be easy once the action goes on, but then when you just kind of have, like, those filler space, that's the tough part.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up too bad, Brandon.
Yeah, so
you did a good job.
What I learned about that experience was with volleyball and now doing high school football, one of my strengths is storytelling, finding these cool facts about the players, being able to bring those to light that like other broadcasters might not find.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the actual game flow, I'm a little slower. Like that's where I need to improve the most is being able to adjust to a fast-paced game because soccer, it's constantly moving. The ball does not stay with one player more than 3, sometimes 5 seconds if you're lucky. And that's what really is the hardest thing is because by the time it's kicked to a player, before you could read off the name and number, boom, it's moved to the other side of the field. And now you're like, oh, now they're running. Oh, street. Oh, now it's a through ball. Oh, cross in, header. Oh, somebody had the ball. So, I don't know exactly who it was.
So my bad. Didn't realize who it was.
No, there was a couple moments where they were moving so fast I couldn't keep up. But it was a great learning experience. I would really love redemption in soccer. Volleyball went much better, which we'll get to here in just a minute as well.
Hey, you probably will, man. There's going to be times where Harrison and Rob are going to be gone.
Yeah, that is true. So it was fun. This game was great. I mean, you could look at the stat sheet and see how close it was. It was physical, 18 combined fouls. Grand Valley was a little scary in the first half for how many times they got corners. They had 7 corners in a single half. But our defense
was a blast to put in a stat line.
Yeah, you kept just having to press buttons, I'm sure, in there. But he's the best statistician. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, Joe Nagy.
You make me blush, brother.
Oh, my gracious. He's on top of it. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of opportunities, but our defense stood tall. That was probably one of the biggest things we got out of this game. Our defense stood tall, backs against the wall in the box on a lot of those set pieces. Did a great job there. Didn't get as many chances as we'd like, I'm sure. Only 12 shots, so we did get better in the second half with 9 compared to 3 in the first half, but it was still a really good overall game. It just really, really sucks that the fact that goal didn't count, but use it as motivation.
Hey,
we're going to go.
First, to open up GLIAC play, you're taking on the reigning national champion.
Yeah.
And you go 0-0.
And you theoretically should have beat them. That's got to be confidence, right?
Huge.
And you not only confidence, but now you're like, oh, I can't wait till we go play them again at their place, because that's just going to be even more fuel to the fire.
Pretty sick, not going to lie.
So it's going to be fun. The second game on Sunday against Davenport had the GLIAC championship ring ceremony. Really cool being able to see a lot of former players come back and get their rings, and for all that they've done, had some jerseys dedicated. Really, really cool ceremony.
Oh, sorry about
that. It was a banger, you could say, Joe, as you hit the microphone. But it's okay.
My bad.
No, you're good.
I had an itch on my head. I wasn't paying attention where my hand was at.
Yeah, the headsets do get itchy sometimes. It's just what it is. But
yeah.
Draw with Davenport, 1-1. Obviously would love 3 points. We played a really solid game in my mind, just watching that game in through. It was a good game. It just was really an unfortunate error from Daria, which, I mean, she was in perfect position on the goal, where she tried to punch it over the crossbar. Timing was a little bit late, and it just caught the top of the net in between the crossbar and the goal, and it just ended up going in. It was unfortunate, but we rebounded nicely, scored within the next 3 minutes later, which was really huge, with Peyton Price getting in the net for the first time. And I think we were the aggressors in this game, I would say for sure. I mean, we almost doubled them in overall shots and set pieces. But we were a little too physical at times, which we kind of, Davenport seems to be that team, what we've seen in recent memory, that becomes a physical game no matter what. And especially with the conditions in the second half was
rainy.
Oh, it was absolutely just a slosh pit there for a minute. But it was definitely one of those physical games where one error could cost a team a goal, and it just turns out that both teams committed an error, and from there the game was just so slow enough that nobody else could find a way to punch it open.
Yeah, true. And I think that's the one thing, especially looking so far with where the GLIAC is at with soccer, or for women's soccer, I think it's going to be a pretty even race throughout, because you also have teams that are going to be coming in like, Michigan Tech, Northern are going to be 2 pretty tough teams. Obviously, Grand Valley and Davenport, I think, and Saginaw Valley too is going to be able to come back and really do something well. And then, Wisconsin-Parkside might be a little bit down. They haven't really had as much success in the last couple of years, but you're going to have 4 teams that are going to be fighting for the top spot. Probably come middle of the season as well as that farther on. So I'm pretty excited to see what that goes on. But I mean, we got Northern Michigan, Michigan Tech this weekend, so it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun going up to the UP, play a couple good teams. And especially with the way the GLIAC standings are coming out, like right now, there's teams everywhere across the board. So still a lot of season left, and obviously we're not counting anybody out in this conference for sure, as there's a lot of good teams.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to be fun to see how we adjust. Now going to be playing our first games really on the road in conference play this year going up into the UP, but I mean, if we can keep ourselves in good positions defensively, which we have overall, I think we could say over Friday and Sunday's game, and we're getting offensive opportunities for sure. I mean, Peyton ended up scoring that goal on Sunday, which Ella Wolf got the assist from the defense, so that's really cool as well for her as a freshman. But we're getting a lot of good chances. The final third, the attacking third. I know we talked with Isabel Sabo last week. You can check that out in the feed if you haven't already. That was the big focus going into those games, was the attacking third, finish. And those are definitely the things that if they can find a way to convert on a lot of these opportunities, we're going to be in games where we're up 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 potentially. And from there, your game plan goes wide open. You have a lot of other things you can do as far as game plan, and that's going to put you in the driver's seat, because it seems like we're really in the position where we are being the aggressors. We're having the possession. We're getting the opportunities, but the game just keeps at an even slate just because we haven't converted on a lot of those chances.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be a pretty interesting way that this season is going to play out, as well as how we do with a lot of the chances that we're given. But I'm excited, especially to see kind of how we develop these coming weeks, especially seeing that we got a lot of tests. We got a good chance to really develop pretty heavily, especially seeing what we've been able to do against two really good teams so far.
Yeah, for sure. So soccer will be up north this upcoming Friday and Sunday against Tech and Northern. You can follow along all the stats and more on the website, ferrisstatebulldogs.com. But over to the gridiron we go. The fellas took a trip to Hickory, North Carolina to take on number 14th ranked Lenoir-Rhyne. And really, I think just proved the whole world that this is, I would say, undoubtedly the best Division II defense in football. Hands down.
Yeah, that's true. I'd second that. They were lights out.
My goodness.
Caleb Murphy, dude. What was he on?
Man.
Holy.
He was ready to play. Let me tell you what. This team defensively allowed 94 yards the entire game.
Of total offense.
Yes.
16 yards rushing.
Yes. Lenoir-Rhyne, in the span of a game, could not get from goal line to goal line. In how many drives? They had 12 punts.
I think I texted.
What else do you need to say?
I tweeted out I think it was 15 minutes left in the fourth quarter, or not 15 minutes, 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I tweeted out, I said, just so you know, on 44 plays, our defense has only allowed 66 yards of total offense.
On 44 plays.
On 44 plays. That's insane.
Yeah.
After the whole thing was
over,
1.5
it was yards.
It was 50 play. It was 50-some plays, or 55 for 94 total yards. That's less than 0.5. If you're taking an average, it's less than 0.5 yards per play. It's insane. I will say this, though. Lenoir-Rhyne got to get a better broadcast. Dude, half the time.
It was tough.
Their video guy was
my goodness, yeah.
Wait, you watched it too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what
guy
you're talking about.
Okay, so toss back to the first touchdown we scored. Evan to Xavier Wade for that 60-yard bomb.
Yeah, beautiful play.
Beautiful play. Wish I could have saw it.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
Yeah.
They didn't even follow the ball.
No.
Xavier caught the ball and then he went 10 yards and then the guy caught up with him. I'm just either you got 30 a 400-pound camera you got to move along, that's why you're dragging, or you just bad at your job.
Yeah, it was brutal, not going to lie, watching that. And I really loved the fact that they didn't feel like broadcasters. They felt like commentary people.
They just felt like fans.
It was just really funny to listen to that. And yes, I know exactly what you're talking about as far as the camera was. You'd see a play come near the sideline. They'd be like, and a deep pass. And then all of our buddies watching were like, and we can't see it because the camera's not there. So we don't know what's going on.
The funniest part is when Carson went in, for 7 plays in a row, they kept calling him Evan.
Mm-hmm.
They thought he was Evan Cummins. I was just it's not hard to see that there's a 1 in front of the 2. It's not the same person.
They had a little bit of a rough time, but all the way around, we just made it a rough time for him. So really dominating performance defensively. Offense still have some things. Obviously,
a couple of kinks to work out.
Yeah, the first quarter having that dumb snap, it happens, but just can't let those things happen in big games, giving a safety out right out of the gate. But we responded really nicely later on. We found some click with Evan under the helm as Malik is on the bench currently right now with ankle injury or foot injury. So we hope he heals up soon, especially with this bye week. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys who can get healthy again. But Carson Golker played pretty solid. 18 carries, 81 yards, 3 touchdowns coming in as the backup quarterback. We saw Jesse play, which was really cool, getting him some snaps as well. It was really it's a tough time for the receivers because sometimes we just got the run game going and we just roll with it. So, but Xavier Wade, 75-yard TD. Zamir Knighton had a couple targets and a couple carries as well, seeing him get involved. CJ, Tyrese, and Marcus didn't get as much of the work as normal, but definitely will go back depending on the game plan because it was pretty obvious that Lenoir-Rhyne wasn't allowing many big plays. They were just going to let us chunk out yards, which is why we only ended up with 359. They just prevented the big play a lot of the time, and they had a couple chances for interceptions on some passes, but they couldn't convert, and especially with the misty rain that they had that game time, so
they just kind of toss a wrench into it. There was a lot of missed turnovers as well as a lot of missed catches on our part that kind of was a little bit tough because there was just a lot of There could have been a lot of like 15, 20-yard plays
Mm-hmm.
that got negated because they dropped the pass. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. One thing I'll say, offensive line looked a lot better.
They did look better. Yeah, they
looked
did
like
look
they
better.
improved. I'm not sure where Lenoir-Rhyne ranks with a defensive line or defensive like rankings or whatever, but we look like we were giving Evan and Carson a little bit more time, which was good to see. We were opening up holes. We could rush a little bit more, which was good to see. But I think it's definitely going to be a test, probably when Findlay and Saginaw Valley State, when we have to go play them. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, Saginaw looks really good right now.
Saginaw is crazy.
Beating Bowie State
If we want to go into the GLIAC scores report, then I can tell you all about that one.
Yes, before that, Caleb Murphy deserves Player of the Month
Dude,
already. Doesn't even matter. Don't even look at the next.
Homie got
games.
5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Himself was like, he got them 50 yards lost.
12 tackles, 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble.
Dude,
One player. That's not even a whole game. That's a player.
That's one person. That's a guy on Grand Valley. That's his good 4-week span right there.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
That's anybody in the GLIAC.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can play the defensive end position as well as Caleb Murphy can in the GLIAC. Or even the country. I feel like he'll probably get the top one.
You know how much noise he's getting right now is comparison to another GLIAC player that's now in the NFL? Matt Judon.
Mm-hmm.
He might be chasing after his mark. He might be trying to one-up Matt Judon. He played for the Patriots, dog.
No, who did he play for in the GLIAC?
He played for GV.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember that? Matt Judon?
No.
Oh man, you got to look that up. But he's definitely
he's
on a roll right now.
That's crazy, man.
I'm sure. I hate to say it, but I'm sure they're gonna have to find a way to try to double team him or something. But good luck with that.
But
because
here's the thing: if teams double team Caleb, what are they gonna do? Leave Jordan 1-on-1?
Leave Oladipo 1-on-1.
Leave Oladipo 1-on-1.
Bad choice there.
Leave Connor Neer wide open. That's the thing that's the beauty of Caleb being so good is that when he does get double teamed, we got 4 guys right there.
Dogs
that can basically do the same amount of damage.
Dude,
we're just too good in defense.
This defense is legit. Vincent Cooley also had an interception. Shout out to him, as well as 2 pass breakups. But yeah, this team looks elite defensively, and we hope to see that after the bye. Homecoming 2 weeks from now against Waldorf. Going to be a good one at Top Taggart Field. Everybody coming home to see what this team's really about. And then we'll play Findlay, as Joe mentioned, and then we'll get into a tough conference slate right out of the gate with the Cardinals and the Lakers back-to-back, which are 2 very good teams coming into this year.
That's true.
So, going to be a fun season for football. Can't wait to keep on doing that. But yes,
GLIAC
Joe,
scores
go
report.
ahead.
Sorry, not
GLIAC
sports report.
Scoreboard.
Obviously, went and did business down in North Carolina, 27-5. Ferris State rolls Lenoir-Rhyne. Easy money. First time that they haven't gotten a touchdown for the Lenoir-Rhyne offense in a long time, if you listen to the broadcast. Northern Michigan got the quick little win, 13-10 against Wisconsin-Oshkosh, a defensive battle there. Saginaw Valley rolled number 9 Bowie State, 40-12 in Saginaw. That's ridiculous. Bowie State is they are a really good offense, and for them to go in and only put up 12, that says a lot about what Saginaw Valley is going to be able to do on both sides of the ball. Going to have to watch out for them in the GLIAC. I think they could really make a lot of noise. St. Thomas beat Michigan Tech 32-6 in St. Paul, so that's a tough look for the Huskies. Hate to see it. Wayne State beat Shaw 30-22. Good for them. Get a big win there. Was not really expecting that, to be honest. And then Grand Valley, when they went to Pueblo, Colorado, to play Colorado State Pueblo, 35-10 win. They've now jumped up to 3rd in the rankings. So now we have 3 teams in the top 25 for D2 in Saginaw Valley State, Grand Valley, and us. Ferris State is 1, Grand Valley 3, and Saginaw Valley is at 23. I think that's the first time they've been ranked in a few years, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's a monumental moment for them. And, I mean, they were a team we were looking at last year. They gave us fits here at Top Taggart when we played a pretty sloppy game. So really looking forward to seeing us play them. And also, not in the GLIAC, but I think definitely Ferris fans would want to hear this. Rumor has it that the Blazers of Valdosta State lost this weekend. So they're down to their first loss this season at 1-1, and I'm sure everybody loves to hear that. So
45-40.
Yeah, Virginia Union upsets the Blazers in that game. So I'm sure we'd love to see that as Ferris fans, because of course, who beat them really bad last year in the national championship game?
Us.
Of course. Anyway, moving on over now, we will jump into volleyball. First conference bout of the season at home this year first game in Wink Arena. Went pretty solid, getting the win against Parkside on Friday, 3-zip sweep. Really solid game. I was on the call for that one and really saw a lot of good things. We saw a lot of players get some minutes in, which was really, really important. I thought St. Fairfield played awesome. 14.5 points leader. Olivia Henneman-Delape, Emma Bleacher, Claire Nowicki all had 10. And of course, the back row played really well with Kaylee Matt at the setter position, recording 36 assists as well. And I believe, Alina Anderson, the freshman, had 3 service aces. I believe only second to Fairfield with 4. So I think offensively, we did really, really well, especially hit percentage, 281. Not the biggest, but overall throughout the game, it was definitely up and down. But when it was low, our defense started stepping up. So seeing kind of the both sides of the graph going back and forth as far as performance on both sides of the net, that's something that good teams do. So being able to see that, and especially that it rolled over into Sunday's game, Sunday's game against Wayne State. Boy, what an absolute comeback. What a absolute great match.
Huge.
We were down 2-zip, came back with a vengeance in the third set, 25-14, outlasted the Warriors on their favored side, 26-24, and then ended at 15-11 for a final of 3-1. And, I mean, especially in those tight sets, being able to come back, 478 hit percentage in the third set, down 2-zip. Man. That's on a mission. And I think the biggest thing was looking, I mean, as far as the stats are concerned, as far as you just kind of look at it all together, when we had errors, we kind of struggled a little bit, but next set, next point, right back on track. Like, it's the mistake, move on mentality, and that's something that Coach Tia's teams have had a great job of doing in years past, and being able to play really well requires that against good teams like Wayne State, like Michigan Tech that will play later this year, like Grand Valley. So that's going to be well needed for this young team, being able to be resilient, be able to bounce back, and do it with both sides, offensively and defensively. And Fairfield was great, 19.5 points, leading the way. And Henneman-Delape with 17, Claire Nowicki with 15.5, and Emma Bleacher led with 17 digs. And Leah Bylot also had 17 digs and 56 assists for Kaylee Matt. She's probably going to go up in that career mark record into the top 10 leaderboard, I'm sure, very, very soon with the numbers she keeps putting up, and especially being only in her underclass years so far. So super good to see all that success. And, I mean, 2-0 in the GLIAC, baby. What else do you want?
You really can't ask for more than that.
I don't think so, especially with a road win. Ooh.
Yeah, against a good team.
Ooh. Yeah.
Shoot, man.
Yeah. I think it's been like twice now that Wayne State would have been considered the favorite going into the game, hypothetically, if you were considering those. Yeah, exactly. Last year we were talking about it like this is going to be the most pivotal game in the GLIAC schedule, and they went down to Detroit and beat them like handily.
And then
this one was actually
that game like kicked off that like 17-game win streak, right?
I want to say something like that, but of course. No win streaks for Tia, of course.
Shout out Jamal.
Yeah. Oh, Jamal. We're
Jamal
sorry. We set you up for failure on that one.
Yeah, you just don't ask Coach T about the win streak.
No, and I respect that because
it's just funny.
Yeah, we as media members love to blow that stuff up.
Just watch the post-game interview with Coach Tia after the Wisconsin-Parkside one.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
He did. And I wish they would have kept that part in there, but they cut it out, but it's okay. But I respect Coach Tia for doing that because it's a one game, one day at a time mentality.
Yeah.
And
especially last year, like when you have like a 17-game win streak, that can be like the pressure of just like
keeping it alive. Unnecessary.
But when you don't really care, like, you want to win, but like if that's not your main priority, it's just playing good every day, then that's kind of the difference between, these good teams and these teams that go far is their mentality when they have so much to lose,
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those situations where the unadded pressure ending something is like the last thing you'd want to consider in that situation. So it's definitely going to be fun to see this. It kind of sucks because I really am looking forward to watching them again, but they're going to be on the road for a while. They won't be back until September 30th and October 1st, in which I'll unfortunately be gone. But then we'll be back with the back half of the conference schedule with the home games starting in late October. and those ones will be fun to call. Make sure to bring you all the action. So it's going to be fun. Limit errors. That's really, I think, the big focus going in there, because otherwise their resiliency, 2 dimensions, everybody's in and out, same page, filling in spots as we go. Really, that's what you're looking for. So really going to be fun to see this team keep succeeding and cooping up the conference standings.
That's going to be pretty sick.
Yeah, going to be fun. Anyway, final sport really on deck. Cross country was in action this weekend.
Let me take this one from you, Brandon.
Go ahead, Joe.
Folks, guess who's sitting across from me right now? The winner, the champion of the Ray Helsing Bulldog Invitational Men's Division, GLIAC Cross Country Runner of the Week, Brandon Worth, killed it last weekend.
Thanks, Joe.
Killed it.
Thanks, Joe.
Killed it.
It was a team effort for sure, and I know this is probably the worst time you'd want the humble me, but that's all you're gonna get. So I'm sorry,
dude. You're insane.
It was a great race.
So fast.
Great race overall. Everybody ran really well. And we're so far ahead. We're so far ahead of what we were last year. We knew that after the time trial. This was only the confirmation. Being able to really get the rust off of racing and doing it in a dominant fashion. We actually didn't know, fun fact, Dearborn, Rochester were coming to this meet until like Thursday. And coach kind of just dropped like, oh yeah, you guys have some pretty solid competition. It's like, oh, okay. We're gonna have to show up a little bit. I know the men's side dominated, and the women's side upsetting Northern Michigan. That's a huge boost for them in conference rankings, taking down a team 2 spots ahead. And I mean, that's where both of our teams are at right now, is we're getting slept on, and we know it, and we've put in the work. We've got a lot of young upstart talent with the veteran leadership that are putting the foot down and making those moves. And really, this meet was just the first building block, and it's going to be so fun. I mean, we're going to be at Spartan this weekend against a lot of good teams. Will be there, especially regional and conference teams. So it's going to be really fun. I mean, just the fact that we got 5 of our 6, if we obviously with the circumstances with Noah in finishing that race, we'd have 6 guys under 27:20 or around or just under 27:30, 27:20, and that's what Donis ran last year to win. And Donis ran faster. And I mean, a lot of those guys didn't have their best race. I had one of the better races, and that's why I won. But next week, it could be different. I could be 4th on the team. That's just how deep we are and how fast we are on the men's side. And the women's side's the same way. So it's definitely going to be fun to see both these teams keep succeeding with the young talent pushing us behind. And I mean, we're putting ourselves in a really good spot right now and putting ourselves in a legitimate contender.
For sure, man. And especially when we were talking about that earlier, is like, with the teams being set up the way they are, with having such a close gap between the 1 and 5,
huge,
to be able to rely on your anchor who might even beat your 2, 3, 4 spot. When you have that type of depth on a team compared to teams like Parkside and stuff who have a little bit more of a gap, who have kind of more of a ladder to climb between 5 and 4 and 1, 2, and 3, there might be a margin of 15, 20 places that they might be able to not really recover there. But for you guys to be so close together, I think that's going to be a really big testament, especially seeing how that's going to go on later on in the season, especially how much you develop. That's going to be huge, because to be able to have that depth this early and to be able to develop that, I think that's going to be a huge game changer when it comes on, especially the meets like the GLIAC championships and stuff like that, and especially with Spartan Invite. I'm excited to see what you guys do there, because there's going to be a lot of D1 teams. It's going to be a good time, a lot of good competition.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So that'll be on Friday morning if you're looking to drive down to Sparty at Forest Acres West Golf Course. It's going to be really fun, and just really looking forward to seeing everybody get it back together. We've got one under our belt. I mean, the next one will be even more of a rust buster, just because there's going to be a lot more competition there. And it's going to be a little bit different style of racing. But this week, got our legs underneath of us, got the tactics put into play, and now we're going to go out and execute. So it's going to be super fun. But finishing out the Ferris State Sports Report, golf and tennis finished up their exhibitions this week. And I believe day 2 is going on for the women's right now. They had day 1 action yesterday, finishing with a 627 score. Seeing a lot of good things from that team. especially being a little younger, but still having some of those veteran players like Elena Eldred will be still our number one going into this year. Dana Stowski is back once again. But Lizzie Anderson had a really good round. Abby Gravel also had a really good round. So we're seeing a lot of great things from the women's side as well. Haven't heard too much on tennis as of yet, but I'm sure they'll be finishing up with those results here soon, so we'll be able to find out more about how they did. But they're still in exhibition mode as well. Both of these teams are. Obviously, this isn't their primetime competition season. That'll be saved for the spring. But being able to get in good work right now, being able to see where they're at, make adjustments, they're going to be absolutely huge going forward.
For sure.
I think that's about it.
That really is.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with more here on the MBSP. The MBSP is proud to partner with the people of Eagle Village Incorporated. With over 50 years of experience helping on changing the lives of youth, there are opportunities for you to be the next to make a direct impact, including plenty of positions available, including summer staff, internships, and more. For more information, visit eaglevillage.org. Eagle Village, where potential soars.
Welcome back from the break, everybody. Brandon and I kind of want to do a little bit different of a segment for Tuesday, seeing that we don't really want to just go, football on Thursdays and then a football recap on Tuesdays, and it just kind of be more of a NFL-centered episode after the sports report. So we're introducing something else, and we're kind of being a trial run for these next few episodes, but we want to cover some more undercovered sports, whether that be esports, Major League Fishing, NASCAR, F1, have a situation or have a time where we can talk a little bit more about those in depth and kind of go over seasons, stuff like that. So today, Brandon, we're going to talk about disc golf?
Disc golf,
Disc golf, baby.
I love talking about this. And for the record, we're not getting rid of MLB and NBA. Those will definitely be back in the storylines. We'll obviously cover that. But these are just the fun segments that you just enjoy talking about.
It's just a fun little thing.
These are cool, right? Who doesn't love to talk about a lot of these obscure sports that you follow that everybody else doesn't? And then everything that you say is like, what is that guy talking about? But those out there, those disc golf fans, definitely saw the World Championships and what happened. Paul McBeth winning his 6th World Championship in dramatic fashion. Rumors has it he was injured after the first, second, third rounds, and still pulled it out. It was incredible on the putting green in the final round. And, I mean, shout out to a lot of those other younger players that really played well, like Aaron Gossage and Tristan Tanner, who are second and third. And those guys were great, and they played some of their best golf all year, and it just came down to trying to beat who I think right now is in total control of becoming the greatest player in disc golf history. Obviously, Ken Klima with the most world championships, but Paul McBeth has really put this sport on another level. And just the fact now that I think there was a stat that I read up to 4 years ago, there was like over the past 3 to 4 years, the disc golf scene of how many registered players there are across the world and how many courses, everything is almost literally doubled in the last 4 years compared to the previous 40 when it was actually introduced. That's bonkers to think about. The sport is out there more than ever. I mean, Ferris State here, our teams are absolutely
our
legit.
Teams are insane.
National championship caliber teams.
Banners are hanging.
Yeah,
banners hanging.
Banners are hanging. Should have had one last year if the PGGA actually did their job, but we won't mention that. You can find that out in another episode.
Mention it.
Oh yeah, we got screwed, but because of a registration error.
Boo.
From last year.
Stupid.
Which is why we ended up not winning the national championship, but that was an unfortunate situation. They got screwed, but they'll be back at it next year. You can call it right here. But, I mean, it was great to see at Emporia, really the place where disc golf was born and really is
birthplace.
Yeah, the place that everybody knows related to disc golf. It's the place to go. It's on the dream bucket list. It's
like a sick
on the
course
vacation. Oh yeah, it's great. It's on a golf course. A lot of really cool holes. 16. There's a huge island green with a whole bridge across. Super cool.
That's cool.
So it's a really really neat course overall, and it's fitting. It's got to be the World Championships at some point. And did you hear what the total purse was for this, Joe?
$1 million.
This might make you want to play disc golf. Okay, maybe not $1 million.
How much is it?
$200K.
Dang, really?
Yeah,
for disc golf?
Yeah, if you finish.
That's surprising.
If
I
you
didn't think it was gonna be
finish
that much money.
in the top 85 out of, I believe there was 211 men's players, you got cash of at least $400. And I think it was the top. I did the math just a minute ago. Top 33 got at least a K.
What's the average purse? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think. Well, let me do the math here. take
Probably
200,000 divided by 85.
200,000.
Whatever that is. Well, then, no, add 30. Be with the women's side as well. Like the winners champ got 11,000. Kristen Tatar has played
280,000.
That's a lot of math right there.
Well, good thing I have a computer. Divided by what? 80?
Doing total math, you would have 85 and then 30. Exactly. Yeah. So
plus 30.
Yeah. 150. Wait.
So
did I just almost say 115?
105. They make about.
No, 115. I was right. Never mind. 85 and 30. Yeah. 85 and 30 is 115.
No. That's 105. 105 minus 30 is 85.
What? 105 minus 30 is 85?
Oh, never mind. Sorry. My bad.
Okay. Whoa, Joe. Okay.
No,
we're good.
I haven't had a math class in forever. Don't even.
Neither have I. That one took me a minute.
It's 2,434.
That's the average?
For what they make
to
for
play
winners?
disc golf professionally? I might start trying to play professional.
How many events do they have, though?
A ton.
Then.
No, this was just for the event.
No, yeah.
Like I would assume that you said it's like what? You just said 2,000?
$2,434.
Yeah, so in an average one, it's probably like just under a K, maybe a K for an average tournament. Yeah, for like the average person, like just in a full comparison.
Which honestly, I feel like you'd make a lot. Like it doesn't sound like a lot, but like almost every single disc golf course I've seen is free to play. You just gotta buy discs,
right?
Which aren't great. I mean, I guess if you're gonna be a professional and best ever, then you probably want to have good discs. But like, you still need like the crazy amount of stuff. Yeah. I don't understand how they can chuck those things like 400 feet.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane. The torque that you get on that bad boy.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much all form. And like one of my old teammates who's actually on the team right now. Shout out to Derek Franciosi if he's listening. I was really like playing a lot of rounds with him this summer, and I was just like, how did these guys just throw so far and so accurate? It's like it's all form. It's just all strictly focused on looking at just as far as torque with your hips, the X cross step with your feet, and being able to keep your arms level. Those were some things that I worked on. And then, over a couple of weeks, I got myself to 425 feet. So
that ain't bad,
with my best drives. So those were in an open field.
I feel like I'd do more of like a forehand guy.
Forehands are fun. Like those are just like
that's how I throw a normal frisbee. I can't throw it very well.
A backhand?
A backhand.
Yeah. So fun fact, I actually throw left-handed backhand, right-hand forehand. It's the same angle. So like ultimate, I'm screwed. If I wanted to play professional ultimate, I'd have to learn my right hand, which I can throw with my right hand. It's just not as accurate. I don't know why.
That's another thing.
Then I was born like that, but that's just the way it is.
Frisbee.
Yeah.
Write it down.
I would love ultimate frisbee, dude. Yeah, write that down in the list of all of the sports we want to go over. But
I played that like welcome weekend.
Oh, did you?
That's pretty sick.
Oh, I wanted to play that actually.
Like freshman year.
Yeah, I think I was out of town that week when they did that, but
trouble being an athlete.
Trouble being an athlete, but no, ultimate frisbee's fun, and a lot of the people, for example, Brody Smith is probably one of the most popular disc golfers out right now, and he's not even the longest tenured. Like he's one of the newest to the game, but he was a professional ultimate player. He was a national champion in college at Florida. He's a content creator. He does golf. He used to do just strictly frisbee. He did frisbee trick shots with like Dude Perfect, legendary shots, and all those dudes.
Golf. He went to like golf stuff, and then Good.
Yes,
Good
he
golf.
played with Good.
They did with those guys, and they came up with like some random group name, and they fell apart. And now Good is like, just actually, if you're a Good watcher, just hit 1 million subscribers. So that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that is cool for them. But like, he's been involved with a lot of the different with discs and frisbees and golf. He's been involved with a lot of that, and he has his own YouTube channel with over 1 million. I think he's got like, I want to say over at least 2 million subscribers, if not maybe a lot more, but not like a McBeaster Dude Perfect level.
Nothing crazy like that.
But like he's been a big factor of the sport, like just evolving it, because like him being so new, and everybody that knows Brody Smith he's a definite confident I wouldn't call him fully outspoken.
He's got 2.2 million.
2.2, that sounds about right. But he's not afraid to say like, wait, why do we do it like this? Why is it done this way? Can it be done a better way? Which I think when it comes to him especially, like he is the guy that wants to have the full encompassed part of the sport together because he's a competitor, right? Like, what are you going to do to make this the best sport possible and get everybody that is playing the best opportunity to have to get wins, to be able to play better, and make it so that it's not too easy, not too hard, and all those sort of things. And I think that's where like a lot of players are kind of like, and fans especially, that are like what is this guy coming in here and changing things and doing all this? Like, because he has a lot of influence in just like media altogether from the history that he's had, and it's definitely like interesting because you get both sides. Like, there's a lot of people that don't like Brody because he's changing the sport. There's a lot of people that like Brody because he's changing the sport. Like, it just goes with that division line, and then he's got like a lot of these other players that like he does content with, like that play, like Ezra Aderhold. He does a lot of stuff. He used to do a lot of stuff with Paul McBeth. They have beef right now, so they're not doing anything together at the moment. But you got
spill the beef real quick. What's going on?
I don't actually know what the full part of this the beef is. It all went around with the Foundation Disc Golf when they created that, which was created by Paul McBeth. Paul originally brought in Brody as his new kind of sidekick, and then they brought in two other guys, Hunter Thomas and Trevor Stopp, with them, and they kind of made that whole four all working together, and then it just kind of started changing, and I think Paul didn't like the way it was changing, and that Brody had a lot of influence, so he left, and Brody's still with them, and that kind of sort of thing. So there's a lot of just control
Sounds
stuff
like
there.
Paul is a little bit of a what? Wait, what side are you on? Are you on Paul or Brody's side?
I don't know, because like I'm kind of like, I understand where both of them are coming from, and the problem is they're just little bit different personalities, but they're both so competitive.
Sounds like
that
Paul's
it creates a little bit of a problem.
He's a little bit of a bum, if you ask me.
Oh, so you're
on Brody's side.
You're on Brody's side.
Let the change happen.
Yeah, I don't know, because I really like Paul, because I think what he does for the sport is great.
Yeah, why would you not want a guy who's got 2.2 million subscribers grow the game for it? Like is that what the deal is right now?
Yeah, I think what it really comes down to is all of these top tier players aren't the guys doing it. That's what the problem is. Like, you have
that sucks. Deal with it.
Like Ricky Wysocki, Paul McBeth, Eagle McMahon, all these top tier world champion players, and Nate Sexton, Jeremy Colling, Paul Ulibarri, who are the big media figures that are also champions. They like the fact that it's like it's not them, it's Brody. I think people have a problem with.
Big of a reach,
right? I think that's.
I think what get some reach then. That's annoying. That's annoying to me. Like,
yeah.
Why would you be mad at the guy for? I don't know. Because you don't. It's not you who is like growing the game.
Right. It kind of. If I were to think of a situation like right off the fly, it would be like a situation of you have this well established, like say that you have the Sounders, for example, like. Really, when you like this is just completely off the top of my head. Imagine like you're playing in 2000 or whatever the years for the Sounders, and you guys got a really good thing going. You're starting to grow, being able to get in fans, get into the building, start to get success, and then there's this rich guy that wants in, that knows a lot of people, like that has a huge amount of worth, a lot of value, a lot of experience, like similar to what Brody is. And then them saying like, well, if we want to make this the best franchise possible, we should take it to this level and move it to Oklahoma City, or make these changes to the uniforms or the arena. And now the players are like, hey, what the heck? Like, this is our team. This is what we built. Can we have a sense of what this is? Like, that's not the perfect example, but that kind of makes
the Seattle Sounders, like the soccer team,
huh? Or the Sonics. That's what I should say.
I thought you said the Sounders.
I might have said the Supersonics.
Oh yeah,
it's
well, it's kind of like that. Like Brody wants to do like things that'll grow it a little bit.
Yeah,
then the old heads, the guys who like kind of built it or whatever, they don't want to have that happen because they don't want to have their whole. I still think, because here's the thing: if you got a guy like Brody Smith, I mean, he's got a big enough following and he's got a big enough fan base that like whatever he does, you at least got 2.2 million people who are down for it to happen, most likely.
Yeah,
and I have a feeling they probably don't average 2.2 million viewers.
Yeah, but at the same time, just because you have, like, not all 2.2 like Brody. Like, maybe 2, but there's at least probably a big portion that followed just to see what he's doing and why they don't like it. Well, because that's just the nature of some of the people that are in the world.
Watch a little bit, you know.
Yeah, just hate watch. Like that's a legit thing on YouTube, and they've done studies about that.
I hate watch a lot of things.
But yeah, everybody doesn't like everything that some people put on YouTube. That's fair. Like there's a lot of content creators that have these crazy ideas, and you're like, what? Why are they doing that? Why don't they just do like do something else? Like one example, like when Dude Perfect did like those, they started doing like this one series. I remember
series?
No, not the Overtime series. That actually succeeded really well for them. Just as a side note, like they started doing like the Watch Party series for a little bit there. Like they were watching these videos. It was like super close to ridiculousness. And everybody was like, what are you doing? Like, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then they kind of were like, this should be a segment. This shouldn't be a 15-minute video or a 10-minute video, which I would agree with. Like, the way that they had that set up, it was too close to a lot of things, and they're trying to make it their own. And in reality, it just really wasn't gonna. It wasn't gonna hit. It was a miss. And I'm sure that they'll probably talk about that later on or whatever, just in the content creation mind. But like that's a lot of the stuff with sports altogether. Is like you have a lot of these other smaller sports that are trying a lot of these things, like being able to have these different style of tournaments. Like with like the disc golf scene, they had like these. A series of skins they do every year that goes like on CBS, if anybody's ever seen that, where they've actually taken it on national television and done like these doubles matches for like thousands and thousands of dollars, and they can donate it to charity and sponsors and stuff.
They should do a celebrity one.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
people.
Yeah, I know that's a thing already.
I'm sure a celebrity or two likes to disc golf.
Yeah, like Ben Askren is one of the biggest ones, who is a former fighter.
Funky Ben Askren?
Yeah.
He's a discer?
Yeah.
He's a golfer?
Yeah,
He's a frolfer?
They do a celebrity skins match at Funky Farms, I'm pretty sure, every year. Yeah, like a multi-round tournament thing.
That's sick.
Every year. Like, yeah, there's like people that does it, like Casey DeSmith, hockey guy. He's a big proponent of that.
If you do something like a match with, like, get like two, like, I mean, I guess you're not going to find a whole lot of like really good celebrity golfers. But if you do that and get like two, I mean, just mediocre, you can just know how to throw a frisbee and you'll be able to figure it out.
Oh, yeah. I would recommend everybody out there to go try disc golf. And I mean, at the worst case scenario, you're getting some exercise in and you're going to walk in these trails in the woods. But it's super fun. Like that's one of the cross country team hobbies is we go out and play disc golf together. We just have a lot of guys that enjoy the sport, and we like to hang out and play together. So, and it doesn't matter ability level, whether you're a rated professional competitive player or you're just a casual player. Like that's I think what the biggest thing what disc golf has grown with over the last 4 years is everybody's done a great job of figuring out how to cater the world's best and the people just starting out buying their first discs. Like it started to mold together where everybody feels a part of that community, and that's something that like you can take it down to the local level. Like shoot, Reed City just put one in at my hometown at Rambat Park. So literally, like I went and played there and met all these different people. I met a rep that designs discraft courses all over the country there. Like there's just these people everywhere. Like it's just a whole community thing, and that's just super cool. To see like those sports, and like we'll talk about some of the other ones in later shows, like the ACL, and they've done actually. I mentioned the celebrity. The ACL's got it down with that Super Hole series. That's super cool.
ACL is sick.
But then you got other like poker and all those other ones too that bring in celebrities for games and stuff. So all these other smaller sports, they're getting up and up in the world, and it's kind of cool to see all these different varieties of people now that have these says in a lot of these different media markets, and how the sports are changing and how they're comparing to all these major sports like the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB also. So it's really, really going to be fun to go into these more in depth, and I'm really glad we brought this series, Joe, because now I feel like
pretty sick.
Yeah, you're starting to get a little in depth here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. We can kind of spark some debates here. And
there. Debate.
Do a little bit of what's going on in the sport as a whole, that type of stuff. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Make sure you subscribe if you like this, as well as more interviews and stuff coming. We got some good ones on deck. We already have 2 weeks scheduled in advance, guys, with some great guests. So you're going to want to make sure you do that. Follow us on social media so you can see all of Joe's banger graphics at the MBSP, as well as get on our link tree. You can find out all the stuff there, including me and Joe hop on another podcast starting up here. If you like fantasy sports, you're going to want to find that out. Ferris Fantasy Show. You can subscribe to that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. We'll give you all the fantasy football, basketball, baseball, all of the weekly talk. So you can make sure that you win big. And make sure you don't listen to my predictions in future references, because I always pick the teams that lose. Just wanted to let you know that up front now, because I'm actually really good at that if you look back at last week. Joe, you creamed me.
Yeah,
Well, we'll talk about
true.
that on Thursday.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. So, but anyway, until next time.
Take care, everybody.